Hey guys, it's a beautiful day. You're welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time joining me, you're absolutely welcome. If you've been here before, you know how we do it. So last week I talked about things to look out for if you just started dating, or if you've been in the dating field already, things to avoid and just to protect yourself as a woman. And these are the things I wish I knew while growing up. So I'm just going to continue. I said I was gonna continue and all of that. So I think I stopped at number 7 or so. I have some of it written down. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about being emotionally vulnerable. You shouldn't be too emotionally vulnerable with a man. What I mean is, you shouldn't invest a lot. Like, you shouldn't be the one like all over this man, because better if the man is the one that loves you most. It's better if the man is the one that is like much more emotionally invested in the relationship. It is just better that way, because it protects you from a lot, in the sense that, I don't know, like just being too mushy, being too needy, like calling more than twice, it's just too much. And at the end of the day, you realize that you ended up like investing too much emotionally in this relationship and you didn't get anything out of it. So, and the only way to not be emotionally vulnerable is to date more than one man at a time. I'm not saying to sleep with all these men. I'm saying to date more than one man at a time, because that way, that's why these men are not so, I don't know, invested or mushy in any woman, because they have more than one. If you notice, if a guy breaks up with you, he's not, like going to the corner to cry most of the time. He just moves on to the next, because he already had that one pending. That's just the gospel truth. So as a woman, you should have more than one guy, so that when anything goes wrong, you won't be too. Men are givers and we are receivers. Do you understand? So a man should be the one giving you all the love, all the attention, all of that, instead of you being like so emotionally invested and doing all of this, and then at the end of the day you end up getting hurt. Don't build your world around any man or anybody. Do you understand? So always have options, and always be just, especially if this guy is not even committed to you, always be ready to move, because anything can happen at any time. Like I always say, dating is just a scam. You guys are just having fun. Do you understand? Dating is nothing. You're either married or you're single. So just don't be too emotionally invested in one person, especially if this person is not even, if this man is not the one like carrying you on his head and doing all the all the mushy and all the romantic and the nice things for you. You shouldn't be the one doing all of that. The next thing I want to talk about is, as a woman, you should always have standards. You should have values and boundaries. Men value stuff like that. You might think that they don't value it, but they do. It's very good for you to have standards, to say, I'm not going to date a guy, I'm not going to do anything with a guy who doesn't have a job, who doesn't have a business, who doesn't provide for me, who doesn't give me security, who doesn't protect me. Those are all standards. Do you understand? I'm not going to have a relationship with a guy who doesn't buy me flowers, who doesn't take me out on romantic dates, who doesn't pay my bills, who doesn't do all this. Those are all standards. So don't be ashamed when men try to, when some other dusties try to like shame you for wanting all these things, and they use the term gold diggers. Listen, these men that call women gold diggers are so jealous. They are jealous because they want, they crave, they dream about, like, I don't even know how to describe it. They love these women that they call gold diggers, but in order for them to reduce these women or try to make you feel bad, they use those terms on you, because they know that this person has standards and she's not going to settle for a dusty like me. So always make sure you have standards, boundaries to protect yourself. Don't ignore the red flags. When you go out on a date and you notice the first red flag or pink flag or whatever flag, it's red. That's what it is. Or Winfrey says, when a person tells you who they are, believe them the first time. If you go out on a date and you notice that on the first date the guy is just literally talking about sex, this, me, I mean, move. You know that this person obviously just wants sex. If you go out on a date and you realize that this person doesn't even ask me questions or doesn't have any vision or plans or stuff like that, just move. If you go out on a date and you notice that the guy is too touchy, like I always say, don't tell a man what to do. Don't tell a man how to treat you, because you're giving him cheat codes. It's better for you to see how he wants to treat you, and then from there you validate and you evaluate, do I want to be a part of this treatment? Don't believe the whole, oh, if you see that I'm doing something wrong. These men know exactly what they are doing. They are not kids, neither are they stupid. They know exactly what you're doing. So if you go out on a date and you realize that this person is being disrespectful to you, don't wait or don't say, oh, I'm gonna try to change him, it's useless. Every relationship I've ever had, I noticed the very first date I went on, I noticed the red flag, and this man never changed. Instead, they ended up getting worse and worse, and at the end of the day I noticed I was hurting myself more trying to change these people. So have standards, have boundaries, have values. If your values are, I'm not going to have sex unless we are married, fine. Don't ever reduce your values or your standards or your boundaries for any man. Do you understand? Always hold on to them like you hold on to their life. You get? So I'm just going to go straight to the next thing I want to talk about, and that is stay beautiful. Don't let yourself go. Do you understand? Some women, especially those that are married, or or those that are already in an invested relationship, a relationship where the man has invested, and okay, this man is really serious, he wants to marry me and stuff like that. You notice that they end up letting themselves go. They stop taking care of themselves. They stop doing the things that that attract them, because men are visual creatures. So you always need to be on point. You always need to look good, change your hair, smell nice, freshen up twice a day. You always need to do these things. I mean, I really can't go into details, but I mean, you just have to keep this man on their toes. Every time he sees you, he has to be like, oh, he's seen. And for yourself too, I mean, forget about the man. For yourself, to always feel empowered, to always feel good and beautiful, because I believe that there are no ugly women. I know some women who say, oh, I'm not so pretty, or I don't have the it girl factor, or I don't have this. There are no ugly girls. They are only lazy girls. Only lazy. You don't have to be, I mean, the Kim Kardashian or Zendaya, none of that. All you have to do is you have to invest in yourself. You need to have a good moisturizer. I mean, I'm going to talk about all of that probably in a different video. I mean, like the moisturizer I use and all of that, and my skincare routine, which you all know I'm so obsessed with. Like, I'm so obsessed with skincare. So, and just wellness, working out. You need to constantly work out, especially if you're married with kids. You can't just let yourself go for your own good, because this man will shame you. This man will embarrass you. Why do you think a woman that gives birth for literally lends her body, her womb and everything, she finished giving birth, and the man would end up insulting her, that she has stretch marks and all of that? That's totally unfair. That's just the world we live in. That's just the way these men are. So you can never let yourself go for your own self, so you don't end up feeling angry and oh, this and that. About is, if you are with a guy and then you notice that he's still talking to his ex, that's a major red flag. It means that he's not he hasn't gotten over his ex, and he's still hang on onto the relationship. And if you're like in this relationship and you notice, or maybe you've gone on several dates with this man and you notice he's always the one that he didn't have a hand in the breakup. See, let me just give you guys a little trick. Look at patterns. When you go on dates with guys, let me tell you what to do. Always ask questions about the ex. Always ask questions about your family. Always ask questions about things that have happened in the past, because how do you know what is going to happen in the present? Through past experience. Do you understand? It's almost like trading cryptocurrency and the rest of that. The thing is, how do you know how a trade is going to look like in the future? They always trace it to the past. So you would always trace your lines, always do your findings, always do your research, because believe me, whatever he did in the past, people are creatures of habits. They would always repeat it. So the way he treated his ex or whatever, believe me, you're not special. I just have to say, like, you're special to yourself, but don't go with the whole, oh, I know he's not going to do this to me, blah, blah, blah. The way he treated his ex, or most times, it's just how human beings are. They're just creatures of habit. They always try to do the same thing. Unless maybe they notice that the woman that they are with right now is really strong and is not like, you know, is not a pushover and stuff like that. But things that happened in the past would surely happen again. So always ask questions about the past and stay away. Just don't have anything to do with a guy. You can keep him as a friend, you know, whatnot, just gisting and hanging out partner, but don't be too invested in the man that talks about his ex or is still in contact with his ex, especially the ones still in contact. Oh my god, that is just disgusting. I don't even know how people can be friends with their ex. I mean, I believe once, I mean, you've seen me naked, I've seen you naked. I mean, we were in love, we break up, and then you expect me to be your friend. I feel like the person that instigates the friendship is the one that never really was in love. A guy who is still in contact with his ex is a major no-no. Like, I would advise anyone, whether you're a man or you're a woman, they're just trying to use you as a rebound to either make their ex jealous or, you know, just to, like I told you guys before, that men do not heal. They use a woman's body to heal. They go from body to body to body to body to body. So just avoid such, so you won't become like a notch on his belt as a woman. So the next thing I want to talk about is if you're dating a guy, I believe that after 6 months you should know if the relationship is going to, you know, like, to head on to something serious, or you're just wasting your time. And I would say that as a woman, you should have an ultimatum with a guy, and while you're dating, you should tell him, okay, after 6 months, I mean, you should know if you want to settle down with me or not. And if you're not going to settle down with me, I believe there is no essence for us to be together. Always like have that as an ultimatum to know when to walk out, so you don't end up wasting your time, because as a woman, you know your time is precious and you don't want to waste it, I mean, on a baseless and useless relationship. So the next thing I want to talk about is when you meet a guy and you notice that the first thing he asks is, oh, do you walk, do you do this one, do you drive, do you just know, because for me, I met a guy once and the first thing he asked was, do you drive, do you walk, do you stay alone? Those questions are red flags already, and it's just enough for me not to even give this guy my number. Do you understand? So if you meet a guy and the guy is already asking for all these things, you should know he's not a provider, unless maybe you want to be the one providing the relationship. But these are for women that want to be taken care of and provided in a relationship. When you meet a guy that just start asking questions about, I mean, your finances and all of that, it's really irritating, and it's a major turn off for me. So just avoid men that, you know, start asking straight out of the bat questions about your job and stuff like that. Next thing I just want to talk about is if you recently like met a guy and he wants to always have dates in your house, that's a major no-no. Just know he's a brokey, or he's a cheap guy, or he's a cheap dude, or he doesn't take you seriously. If he always wants you to come to his house, or it's a major no-no. So just that, those are things to look out for. Always listen to, don't take everything too serious, but always learn to read within the lines. And also, when you meet a guy, let me tell you why a guy will take your number most times and you notice he doesn't call you. It's because you just give it to him. Ask for your number. Can I have your number? Okay. If a guy asks for your number, you make him work for it. First and foremost, what I do these days is, you want my number? Why? You have to give me a reason why I should give you my number. And by asking that questions, I have been able to weed out a lot of men that literally, they don't even know why they want my number. You just want to have my number. For what, really? Why should I give you my number? So these are the things. Don't just, a guy just comes up to you, can I have your number? Bah, you give it to him. No, you let him work for it. Why do you want to have my number? What are we going to talk about? Are you going to be inviting me on dates, or is it just going? That is literally what I do. And I notice that when I ask these questions, the men are shocked. Or when I say no, because your reason for me to give you my number is baseless. So when I say no, there's like this, they're like startled, like they've never heard that before from any woman. We almost come to the end of this video, and I have like 3 more things to talk about, and I'm just going to be very, very brief on each and every one of them. So when you go on dates with this man, whatever he tells you he doesn't like, it's a disguise. That's exactly what he likes. Whenever you go on a date, I'm going to be using myself as an example. I went out on a date with a guy and he says he doesn't like materialistic women. Guess what? That's what they like. I don't like women that are fair. That's exactly what they like. I don't like this. That's what they like. So most times when a guy says, oh, this is why I want it, it's just a lie most times. You should always read between the lines. And then the next thing I want to talk about is being secured as yourself. You don't always need to be in a relationship to know your worth. Learn to be single, learn to enjoy your company, learn to go out alone, learn to just create fun out of your everyday life. You don't even need anyone. Like for me, I'm so secured in my aloneness. I'm literally like a serial loner. I love to be alone. I love my space. Like I said, your worth is not reliant on anybody liking you or hating you. Don't settle. Don't say, oh, because nobody is coming, men are scarce, this and that, so I'm going to settle for the first dusty or for the first unserious person that comes my way. It doesn't work that way. You're just going to end up, getting, heartbreaks, and at the end of the day, that would leave you bitter. So learn to enjoy your company and learn to be alone. Last thing I want to talk about is trusting your gut. Your gut feeling is 99.9% right. Believe me, like you see that thing you feel when you're around someone, that feeling you get, that's just your spirit. I don't know whether to call it spirit or just your spirit protecting you from what is going to happen in the future. So if you're with someone and your gut keeps on telling you this is not the right person, don't override it by saying, oh, I can make this work. Just believe and move on. This has been very pleasant for me making this video, because these are things I wish I knew, or these are things I wish someone had installed in me while I was growing up. I wouldn't have made all the mistakes I made while growing up. Do you understand? So this has been very nice for me, and I don't know if it has been the same way for you, but if you found this interesting, I would say you save it to watch for later and all of that, or you could recommend this video to your friends, and those are just confused in love, dating, don't know what to do, don't know how to differentiate between the good and the bad. So also don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and please do ring the notification bell so you'll be alerted once I put up a new video. Thank you so much. It has been pleasant doing this, and I hope to see you in my next video. Ciao.